Welcome back to my channel, everybody, for a new year for 2025. I hope everybody is having a great new year so far. Today's video, I'm going to show y'all some projects. I am changing out some of the decor in my home because my style has changed. I'm getting away from so much farmhouse decor. Don't get me wrong, I still love farmhouse decor and I will still have some, in my home, but I'm going more for a French country look. So to do that, I'm trying to figure out some budget-friendly ways of how I can add French country details into my home without spending a lot of money. I always love to go out to Etsy and shop for download printables. And Etsy is a great place to find just about any style you're looking for. But on this day, I'm looking for some vintage sheep. I love sheep, and to me, they scream French country. So I found some that I really loved. I purchased those, and they were sent to my email, and I just printed them out on some plain copy paper, and I just printed them out on my inkjet printer. My printer is not a fancy, expensive printer. It's just something that we picked up at Walmart. But I printed those out, and I'm just replacing some fall graphics that I had in these frames, and I just put them in, put the back on them, and I usually just seal mine back up using some tape. You can also hot glue these in, but I do tape because it's easier to change out, or remove when I get ready to change them out for this season. I think these sheep will be great for wintertime and springtime, and pretty much these can be left out all year long. Now I have another frame that is very similar to that one. It's just got a little bit different ornate detail, but it is the same color tone. I'm going to remove the fall graphic that I had in it, and I also purchased these pumpkins on Etsy. So Etsy is a great place to find some beautiful downloads. And like I say, they're very budget friendly, and you can print them out as many times as you want to. Now I had taped this on the glass because my frame didn't have a backing, but if you want to put the glass on the front of your graphic, you always can. So I'm just going to take this little herd of sheep. I absolutely love them. And I'm going to place it on the glass, get those in the area that, they will fit inside the frame. And I'm going to cut down some of the excess paper. And then I'm going to tape these back on the glass and put this back in the frame. And here is another beautiful piece of wall decor that we can set out either on our open shelving, or you can hang this on the wall, or just set this throughout your home to give it more of a French country look. Now I'm going to show you a graphic where I put the glass on the front just to give you another idea, if you like the glass on the front of how it will look. This is another beautiful frame that I have, and it's very nice quality. This one right here has those staples on the back, which I love, because all you have to do is get your pliers and you can just pull those up to get the contents out of the frame and then push them all back down once you get your contents back in. I love frames like this because they're so easy to just change your graphics out. So I took everything out of this one. This one had a Christmas graphic in it, and now I'm going to put another sheep graphic that I got, and I'm just going to go around, cut down the excess paper to where it'll fit inside the frame, put it in the frame, and then we'll have another beautiful piece of wall decor. Now I'm going to show you how we can make some beautiful sheep book covers. This is a book that I think I got at Dollar Tree or maybe at the thrift store. My mother loves to read books. A lot of times I will buy books thrifted or at yard sales, very, budget friendly for her. She'll read them and then she'll give them back to me. Some of them I keep for projects and some of them I'll donate back. Now this one, I wanted to scuff up that writing on the binder, get rid of it, but I also wanted to scuff up the binder just to make it look like it's old and rough. And that little finger sander worked the best. I put a really coarse sandpaper pad on it and it worked great. So now I'm going to use this sheep again. He's one of my favorites. I love him, and he is tall. He runs, vertical instead of horizontal. So he is a good length for this book. And I love that this book has some of that colored area on the front of it. So we're going to leave that because he's got a lot of that color in him, and I think it's going to coordinate very well. The first thing I wanted to do was I wanted to take my straight cutter and I wanted to go around all the edges of the graphic, and I wanted to get a straight cut because I'm going to try to cut it down as best I can to fit the book cover, but I'm not going to make it exactly the size. because I'm going to go around it with my finger sander, and I'm going to remove the excess paper using my sandpaper, but you could also use a razor blade or your scissors. Now I'm taking a good quality glue stick to apply this to the book, and the glue sticks to me work the best. You can use Mod Podge, but I don't like using liquid on these graphics a lot of times because, you know, when you use liquid, sometimes it's going to make your ink blur or it's going to make it run. This way, the glue stick, it's very neat and it holds it on really well, and you don't have any wrinkles or bubbles, and you don't have to wait for anything to dry. So just liberally go around with your glue stick, rub it over the whole front of your book, and make sure to get on the edges and in the corners really well. That way you won't have any of your corners or sides of your papers coming up. I'll always like to roll over everything with a brayer just to make sure that it is adhered really well with that glue stick, and it'll push out any of that excess glue to the edges. And once you get it pressed down really well, then go around now with the edges with some sandpaper or your finger sander and remove that excess paper. I go around the rest of the book with my finger sander until I get all the excess paper removed. Now once I get all the paper removed, I just go around with my fingers and just make sure I've got all those edges worked down really well. Now you could always go over the top of this. You could use a sealer. You could put Mod Podge on the top of it to seal it, but I didn't use any sealer on mine. Now look how beautiful this book looks, and I'll style it for you in just a minute. Now here's another idea for a book. Now this is a book I deconstructed for another DIY project in another video, but I'm going to show you, if you have a book, this is like a paperback book, just deconstruct it, take the binder off, and it'll make it look more worn and vintage looking. Now on this book, I'm going to lay it on the back of my graphic and I'm going to trace around. I'm going to cut this one down to size. So I'm just going over again the cover of this book, and I'm going around the edges and the corners really well, and I'm applying this sheet graphic. Now I'm just making sure that it adheres really well, and then I'm going to roll over it gently with my brayer and make sure I've got it pressed down really good. Now we've got another really pretty book that we can set out and make a beautiful vignette, especially with those beautiful frame graphics that we just made. Now I'm going to show you how we can take a frame from the Dollar Tree. These were some beautiful frames. They come in square, and there was also an oval design. So I picked up a couple of each shape. Now I'm not going to do a lot to this, but I am going to take a few products that I have on hand, and I'm going to show you how we can take this frame to the next level. It is a shiny gold, which is still beautiful the way it is, but I think we can tone it down, give it some dark wax, and make it look even better. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm applying a layer of gilded gold wax. I'm just using an old piece of t-shirt, and I went around the whole frame with that gilding wax. Now I'm going to go over it with some antique gold rub and buff, and with the same little piece of t-shirt fabric, you just want to use a soft cloth and just work it down into all those ornate details and try to just knock some of that shiny gold away. This will just give it a couple of different tones of gold, and then once we get the gold on, look what a difference it already has made. Now we're going to go over it with some dark wax. Now you can use whatever kind of dark wax that you may have on hand. This is by DIY, and this is a really good one. But just using that same cloth, I'm just going to work it down into all those little cracks and little details of this frame, and it's got a lot of detail, but I want to make sure I get it down in all those little cracks really good, and then I'm just going to work it around. And once you get it all over the frame, and I applied it pretty liberal, once you get it applied, then I'm just going to go over it again with that soft cloth, and I'm just going to rub it back. Now if you need to go back and put more on it, you always can. You know, let it dry, and once it's dried, I'm going to show you how beautiful this frame is now, and we can put another one of those beautiful sheep graphics in it. Now just to give you an idea of how different it looks, the bottom one is the one that we just redid, and the top is the one that as is, if you go to Dollar Tree and purchase it and you use it as the shiny gold. But look at the bottom one. Using those couple layers of those different tones of gold along with that dark wax, getting down into all those little ornate details and crevices. Look what a difference it makes. It just adds another beautiful detail to this frame. Now that we've got our Dollar Tree frame all jazzed up, let's put a beautiful graphic in it. Again, I'm going to use another one of those beautiful sheep graphics that I downloaded and I purchased from Etsy. Again, just using some good quality glue stick. I'm just going to apply it to the backing of the frame. I'm just going to cut away the excess around all the edges, put it back in the frame, and now we've got a great piece that we can set out on a shelf. I have a lot of open shelving in my kitchen, and this just makes a great little piece where you need to add something. Maybe you've got a round tray sitting on a table, you can pair this with some other, home decor pieces, and it just really adds another great detail to your vignettes. And this was a $1.25 frame that we got at Dollar Tree with a graphic that we purchased on Etsy for just a few dollars. So this made a beautiful piece and we didn't spend a lot of money.